day we out here fighting demons. We done stepped into a life that got us out here fiending. That money be the root of all evil, could kill us all. My homie had a bad addiction and died to an overdose of fentanyl. My other homie doing 30, killing with fentanyl. I just make sure I'm by the phone every time he call. Ever so dope, we all make some bad choices. Some of us get a second chance while others pay for it. The money and the drug got these women selling they soul. They done legalized weed, now everybody smoking drugs. People out here getting high, forgetting they got keys. Double cupping all night on that lean getting lit. Pumping that dog food, aka that heroin. Another mother just lost a child to something that's embarrassing. We need to make a change and break the cycle, all this foolishness. Every day, every so dope, we keep on losing keys.
With Ever So Dope. I've got Jennifer and Nicole with us today.
Hello.
Hi. Our topic this week is dying to get high. We're interviewing a few young ladies who have overdosed. And so, Jennifer, who do we have today?
Today we have Cassie C. Say hello.
Hey.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm not a single mother because I have a boyfriend, or a fiance, I should say. But I have two little boys, and I have a little girl that's in Ohio. I'm 30 years old. I've been living in Panama City for 4 years now, and I am originally from Dayton, Ohio.
There you go.
Okay. And so our topic is dying to get high. So you have overdosed?
Yes, multiple times in a very short period of time.
Okay. So kind of tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so how it starts is I was around 22, 23 years old after I had my daughter. I was addicted to pain pills, like very, very bad. And when those started getting scarce, I went towards heroin, and I was on heroin for a year until the fentanyl, I guess you call it outbreak or, epidemic started. They were lacing fentanyl in the heroin, and we didn't know it. So it was like you were just playing Russian roulette with yourself every time you did a shot.
So you were an IV drug user?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. You didn't start like that, though.
No. It ended up like that because of the environment I was in, the people I was around.
I gotcha.
The influence. Yeah.
Could you go ahead?
No, you go ahead.
Could you go over your very first overdose with us?
The first time I overdosed, it was off this stuff they called the Gray Death. And
that was the name for it? That was the nickname?
That's not, the dealers didn't call it that. The news called it that.
Oh,
because it killed so many people. The news was going on, on television and warning people about it.
It was heroin?
It was heroin laced with fentanyl.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
That's where the gray color comes
in.
And
where
because
was that local here, or?
Was that in Ohio?
That was Dayton, Ohio.
Dayton, Ohio.
Okay.
With the first time I overdosed, we went and caught some dope, and I didn't think nothing when I seen that it was kind of grayish. It was a little off color. I was used to geting brown, a real dark brown color. So like normal.
So when you're looking at drugs, I'm a novice here. So you're looking at drugs, you can tell the color is important. I mean, I have no idea. So
when it came to the fentanyl, there's a way of telling it with the color because if your normal dude's giving you dark brown dope normally, and then all of a sudden it gets lighter in color, it's because he's cutting it with something.
Okay.
So there's little clues.
There's little clues, and then eventually after just a year, it seemed like a year and a half, the dealers just started calling it Fetty and was selling pure fentanyl to everybody in capsules. It was white. And the first time I overdosed, we were in the city, we were copping, and I did a shot, and instantly, it was like instant dead. By the time they got me to the hospital, they didn't even realize I was dead in the back seat. They went back to the dealer to get the order fixed because he had forgotten some. And they didn't know I was dead until after they seen him again.
Blacked out completely.
Yeah, by the time I got to the hospital, I was dead on arrival. It took 8 cans of Narcan.
Oh
They were
my
getting-
gosh.
How were you
They were
treated
getting-
at the hospital? Did they did they
I
judge
was-
you? Were they judgy or did they
No,
even
the
want
lady
to treat
got
you
me in
for
and out
anything?
real fast. The nurse lady got me in and out real fast. Probably a lot quicker than most because she was in there when I woke back up.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, they were getting ready to defibrillate me when I woke up. I seen them with the they were getting ready to shock my heart.
How old were you? How old were you?
23.
Okay.
Oh, that's
And
so young.
my friends stayed with me the whole time. But these were people, of course, I grew up with.
So they took you to the hospital. They didn't just dump you out like some
right? Yeah, they
people.
took me.
Not
And
like
the
some
nurse-
folks around here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the nurse, I was so worried about having warrants. The nurse said the nurse let me out before she put in some kind of paperwork saying they were releasing me, so I wouldn't get caught up on my warrants.
Wow.
Because they'll keep you there if you have some, you know what I mean? They'll keep you there till the cops come and get you.
Do you
but
think-
the nurse felt bad for me.
If you would have gotten arrested, then you would have stopped, or do you think it just it wouldn't have mattered, and you would have gotten out and still would have continued to use?
It wouldn't have mattered. I decided to stop on my own, to stop using heroin, and I started using meth. Which that's not healthy at all, but that was, I wasn't ready to stop using.
Right.
I wasn't, I was running away from my problems. I was escaping, and that was my only way of escaping it. To me, it felt like, at the time, I just gotten out of a very abusive 7-year relationship with my first child's father. I had to get up guardianship rights of my daughter because of the abuse and the drugs and everything. And so I felt like I had nothing else to lose.
You were all in.
Just all in, yeah. And
Do you think that your relationship and I know, we make our own decisions, but I think a lot of it has to do with the people we surround ourselves with, bad men, and that sort of leads up to our bad choices as well. And then we get hooked and we just don't think that there's any way out, it just seems impossible.
well, yeah, absolutely. So when I first started seeing my daughter's father, that's when I started getting into pain pills.
Right.
I was a high school graduate. I only, I sold some weed and smoked some weed, but I never messed with anything else.
Yeah.
So until I got with him, and he was doing pain pills and Xanax, and I just joined the crowd. I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be
The
liked.
people, places, and things, all of those things that's why when you decide to go into recovery, you have to change all of that, every single bit of that. So that was one time. What other time? Tell us about some other times.
The last time that I overdosed was an accident. I accidentally picked up somebody else's bucket where they just did a shot of fentanyl in it, and I didn't realize it.
What is a bucket?
And
I don't know what a bucket is. You're gonna have to tell me.
okay, so on a needle, there's a orange cap on the end.
Right.
They call it, but we call it, slang, a bucket. So
Okay.
you can do your dope in it.
Mm-hmm.
They all look alike. The caps look all alike. So I picked up somebody else's, not knowing it, and I, went to do me a shot of meth. And the minute it hit me, I could feel I knew the overdose was coming when I felt it creep up my neck.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh no, this has fentanyl in it.
Mm-hmm.
And that time when I died, all the other times I overdosed 6 times in a year.
God.
Yeah,
You
That time I was always-
are
it was
blessed
always-
to be here.
Yeah.
it's a blessing for me. I don't understand.
Were you hospitalized that time or no?
I was hospital every time I overdosed. I was.
Yeah. Weren't you? That didn't. I mean, needles freak me out. Honestly, just needles freak me out. So, were you not scared to put a needle in your arm? I mean, that
They
didn't
used to
dissuade you
have to
from
hold
doing?
me down as a child. They would have to hold me down and put me in a papoose or something like that, where
Right.
it's like just to give me a shot as a child.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought that, you know what I mean, 10 years later I would ever stick a needle in my arm, but I did.
Right.
So I try to tell people, you never think you're going to do it, and then it happens.
And then you're doing it,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Wow. So, what was the turning point for you?
Well, when I got pregnant, I was homeless here in Florida. I found out I was pregnant with Caden. And still then I was using. I was like 2 or 3 months pregnant, and then I got arrested. And then I can remember being in the back of the car and God telling me, this is good. This is good.
Mm-hmm.
and I knew it was good.
You knew,
and I was okay. I was okay with it. I was
That's-
the only time in my life I've been arrested. I was actually okay with it because I had no means to take. I couldn't even take care of myself properly. You know what I mean?
let alone a baby. Yeah.
Do you find it
Right.
like in your everyday, your day-to-day activities and the way you live now, do you find it difficult to stay sober, or how are you doing with that?
I stay to myself a lot. I don't try to make too many new friends because you never know what people are really doing,
Exactly.
But, I have days where I kind of like, it would be nice. But then I go, yeah, but I could lose my kids. I could lose everything I've earned. It's not worth it.
Because you've
It's not
worked
worth it.
extremely hard to get to where you're at right now. And
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
Getting high just one time could throw, all the work that you've done right out the window.
Well, especially after seeing, I won't say her name, how she lost everything so fast.
Yep, that was just recently.
Yeah, from one mistake, and because of that, she just gave up. And I don't want to be her. I don't want that to happen to me. So.
Right.
You want to come out and you want to be a good role model for your children, which you are, to be a strong support for them and to show them a different way.
Absolutely. And I'm rebuilding a relationship with my daughter. She's starting to get a little bit more older, and I had a good talk with her last night, and I told her how sorry I was for not being a mother to her like I should have been.
How old is she now? How old is your daughter now?
9.
Aww.
And she's been through a lot, and thank God she's with family, but it kills me not having her here with me because I feel incomplete.
Yeah. But you know what? You just keep those doors open and that contact, and I tell everybody, now is not forever. You take care of yourself and make sure that you're okay, and then one day you're gonna have the rest of her life you're gonna have a relationship with her. So just
as
keep
soon as
doing
I
good.
get a 3-bedroom house, she's coming here. I already made I just gotta get a 3-bedroom house and a good lawyer, and she's coming here with me.
Good.
Aww.
Good.
And that's a goal, and
So how long have you been sober now?
oh Lord, well, I had a hiccup that we know about. That was what, last year? Not this last year, but the year before. And
Yeah,
then I've been
2022.
sober for like what?
2022, yeah.
Almost a year and a half now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But before then, I was sober for almost 2 years. So
Right. So do you how are you staying? I mean, I know you're focused on your children, but for you personally, when take the children out of the picture, take the husband out of the picture, take everything out of the picture, what does Cassie do every day to not go backwards? What is it that you do for yourself to make sure that you continue to move forward and stay sober?
well,
So how
groups-
can you encourage other people to get where you are?
Well, I want to encourage people, make sure you take time for yourself and for healing. And for whatever that you have to do that makes you feel like you're healing. Some people like to just, go see beautiful scenery, go on hikes, go to the beach. My thing is gardening. Gardening. I can't say the word today.
Gardening?
Yeah. Sorry. From the overdoses, I'm getting all my medical records from it. I have I have a brain injury from it because of how many back to back. So it makes me stutter with my words and forget how to say words. It's very embarrassing, but it's that is
Could
the.
be way worse.
Yep. So
But I like to see things grow. I want to see things bloom and blossom, and I want to watch them grow, and that's what makes me happy.
That's awesome.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
awesome. Well, dear, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. And the purpose of our podcast is to educate and encourage other people that might be struggling now, currently, or maybe they're trying to stay sober. We're just giving the real truth about what happens and how you can get to the other side of that. So thank you for participating.
Can I give one thing that's almost like a statistic?
Sure.
So I can remember the last a really good memory between me and 5 friends.
Mm-hmm.
And today there's only 2 of us left alive. And we're all, the memory is all of us in a car getting ready to go to a party.
Oh,
And now, because of fentanyl, 2 of us are alive. So 2 out of 5 people.
oh my goodness.
Wow.
Made
That's
from
a
one
good
small town.
visualization. A good it sort of brings the matter to reality.
Yeah, the stuff's dangerous, you know.
It is.
Well, thank you, my dear.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. We'll talk
We
to
love
soon.
you.
Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Hey, today we have Jennifer and Nicole, and we're going to
Hey, y'all.
be talking with Kathy here. Our topic is overdose, and overdose is something that has affected her life greatly and touched her in ways that we'll never be able to understand.
And Kathy is one of our producers here on the show, and we thought it'd be nice to have her tell her story in hopes of helping others that might have experienced something similar tragedy. Yeah.
So, Kathy, how has overdose affected your life?
Well, initially I married, when I was very young, I married someone that had a pain pill addiction. And he ended up committing suicide in his pain pill addiction. So leaving me with 4 children and trying to raise 4 children on my own was difficult. And I fought really, really hard to have my children not use drugs. My daughters turned out great, and my son turned out great too, but he turned into having the same problem as his biological father did, a drug addiction to opiates and pain pills. He did overdose a couple of times, and what I would say would be, when he overdosed the first time, he was in a controlled environment. He was actually at a place here in town that he was going to some classes, and someone older gave him scoop, which was at the time was a big deal going around. And so the scoop,
That's like date rape, sort of GHB.
yeah. So he got scooped, and he got in his car and he started coming home. He was 19 years old, and he pulled up into somebody's yard that he knew, and he slumped over the wheel. They called the police. The police came. He was overdosing, and so when we got a call to come to the hospital, Gulf Coast here, he was unresponsive, they said. So he had not ever done anything. That had never happened before. So that was the first time. The second time, I got a phone call that he was in his car. It was always in his car, and he was on the side of 23rd Street, and that he had it was unresponsive. So we rushed to the hospital, and it was pain pills at that time. And I think God was trying to tell him, stop this nonsense, crazy. But he would go for long periods of time and be sober, and then get the itch and take some drugs. And because he wasn't on a day-to-day regimen of using,
His tolerance wasn't as high.
Wasn't right. He would and spend a day or two in the hospital. Last time that he overdosed before he passed away was, I got a phone call from a very good friend of his who wasn't there, and said that he was with a bunch of people at a hotel on 23rd Street here in town, and that I needed to go to Gulf Coast Hospital, that he had overdosed. So they left him. And
Just
they
left him
just
there.
left him, and they called one of the friends and said he's laying in the floor. And so this person, who is just very dear to me, he called me, and he's had a lot of history and a lot of past, and had a lot to lose, but he made sure that my son the police were called, and he was taken to Gulf Coast Hospital. He was there in intensive care for a week. That affected his kidneys that time. He almost died, but he made it. And but it was extremely awful when you're looking at your child. That's still your child, even though they're an adult.
Still your baby.
Yeah. But he just, having almost died, I thought, this is it. He's gonna never do this again. And like I said, he had periods of sobriety and periods of really good. And then that itch, that whatever, stress, pressure, whatever it is that makes you do what you do, he just never could handle those kind of stresses and pressures very well.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it too, what people don't realize is the sickness, the physical of what it does to you. It's so, you would think if something traumatic happens in your life, I'm never going to do that again. But,
Right.
For me, it was just getting over that, being sick and,
The withdrawals.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
And as a family, as a mother who loves her children, and watching your children hurt like that, there's not anything that you can do to make anybody stop. And I'm the perfect poster child of that. I tried for a long time. I started a women's program. A lot of things were because of the things that I had learned dealing with my son's addiction. And then last year he did take what he thought was a Xanax, and he died. 100% fentanyl, no Xanax. and he's gone. So one of the reasons that we do the Families Fighting Fentanyl and the Ever So Dope podcast is to educate people as to what is out there. The drugs that are out there now are not the same drugs that were out there 20 years ago. And the fentanyl coming over the border, it's killing a generation of individuals, and it's changed my life, it's changed me personally, and our whole family's just been absolutely devastated by this. So when you choose to use, you need to think of your mom. When
Right.
you choose to use, you need to think of your kids. When you choose to use, you need to think of those people that, love you,
That
because
would be
you're not only, and I used to have this conversation with him, if anything ever happens to you, you're going to ruin my life. He said, Mama, I don't get drugs from people that I don't know. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. And he was like a functioning addict. That makes sense. He had a job, he had a house, he had a family, he had all of these things, and it still took him from us. And so we still reel from the tragedy of overdose. And we're going to have a podcast about losing our loved ones to drugs. There's going to be some more speakers. But for me personally, going to the hospital, not knowing if your child's alive or dead, and they tell you they're unresponsive or unresponsive. It's heart-wrenching. And then they wake up, and then you get them to where they need to be, and you sober them up, and you get them to, you go a year or two, and you're doing great, and then all of a sudden, boom. That's what people don't understand, that substance abuse disorder is a mental health disease.
It's a
and it needs to be treated as such. So that's another reason that we do this, is to educate folks and to let them know that you just get help. You just get help.
We also, we push for Narcan. We have boxes and boxes. So if you use, or somebody who uses, or you just want to have it, if you go to our Facebook page, Ever So Dope, you can message us and we'll drop it off. No questions asked.
Absolutely. We are very passionate about helping people
Saving lives.
Stay alive.
Anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's it. It's
Well-
just traumatic for the person, and it's traumatic for their family. And like I said, as a mom who's watched it a couple of times, it's absolutely devastating. And I can only imagine how it is for the person that's using,
Well, we love you and thank you for sharing that with us.
Kathy.
And,
Absolutely.
all right. Bye.
Bye-bye.